All right, there you are. My name is Taylor Ramat. I fix airplanes for a living. I serve my country in the United States Air Force. I've stood on a union floor and fought alongside working people, and now I serve in the Texas Senate. But that's not the story I came here to tell. I came to tell you about a little boy sitting in a public school classroom. He's staring down at the page. The letters, they're there, but they will not be still. They twist, they move. The other kids seem to understand something that he cannot quite reach. And every minute that passes makes him feel smaller. That boy was me. I have dyslexia. When you are a child, you do not have the words to explain why something is hard. You just know that everyone else has turned the page and you are still trying to survive the first paragraph. You start wondering if maybe the problem is not the page, maybe it's you. Then an educator pulls up a chair, not with pity, with patience. They do not lower the bar. They show you another way over it. They look at a child who has begun to doubt himself and lend him their faith until he can build some of his own. I cannot tell you the name of every teacher that helped carry me across those years, but I can tell you this. Every time I walk into the Texas State Capitol, some part of them walks in with me. That is what educators do. You send pieces of yourself into futures you may never see. A student leaves your classroom and becomes a nurse who holds somebody's hand through the worst night of their life. A welder who builds something that outlasts a lifetime because you believed in them. A mother reads to her child because you once taught her how to read. A soldier, a scientist, a doctor, a mechanic, and maybe even a state senator. You rarely get to witness the full harvest of what you planted, but you watered the seed, and you trust America to keep its end of the bargain. That bargain is what brought me here today. Public education is not a program tucked somewhere inside a state budget. It is where this nation first introduces itself to its children. It is where America looks a 6-year-old in the eyes and says, "You matter enough for us to prepare a place for you." Not because your parents are wealthy, not because you were born in the right neighborhood, and not because learning comes easily. You matter because you are here. That is the promise. And right now, across this country, that promise is being broken with remarkable precision. They drain the schools and then blame teachers for the empty tank. They bury educators in unfunded mandates, paperwork, testing, fear, and political theater, and then act surprised when good people cannot take another year. They stand behind podiums and call you heroes because hero is a beautiful word that costs them nothing. Then they go back to their state houses and capitals and refuse to pay you enough to live in the communities you serve. I am tired of gratitude being used as a substitute for justice. You cannot pay a mortgage with Teacher Appreciation Week. You cannot stock a classroom with thoughts and prayers. You cannot build the greatest public education system in the world by asking teachers to make a miracle out of whatever money is left over after the politicians finish rewarding their donors. And nowhere is that consequence greater than in my home state. 1 out of every 10 public school students in America will sit in a Texas classroom. Think about that. 1 in 10. When Texas fails at schools, America feels it. When a teacher leaves because the pay is too low, the burden is too high, and the disrespect has become too unbearable, the whole country loses something. When a child in Fort Worth, El Paso, Amarillo, or the Rio Grande Valley is denied the education they deserve, that's not a local tragedy. That's a national emergency arriving 20 years early. Because the future does not suddenly appear one morning. It's sitting in the classroom right now. It's raising its hand. It's struggling to read. It is acting out because it did not eat breakfast. It is quietly wondering whether anybody in this country has made a room for a child like them. And you are the person who answers. Day after day, you answer. Sometimes with a lesson plan, sometimes with a granola bar, sometimes by noticing that the loudest child in the room is hurting the most. Sometimes by staying 10 minutes after the bell so a student does not have to walk into the world feeling defeated. That work is deeply personal. And make no mistake, it is also deeply political. There is a reason every would-be tyrant eventually comes for the classroom. They're not afraid of a building, they're afraid of what happens inside it. A child learns to read, and suddenly they can investigate the story they've been told. They learn history and discover that injustice is not inevitable. They learn science, and they understand that facts do not surrender because powerful people find them inconvenient. They meet children who do not look like them, pray like them, speak like them, or come from families like theirs, and they learn the democratic idea that no one is born more human than anyone else. That is what they fear. The moment a young person realizes that they are not merely a subject of history, but an author of it, that power begins in your classrooms. And some people would rather dismantle public education than allow every child to inherit it. I've worked around airplanes and machinery most of my life, and I know what it looks like when somebody is trying to strip a thing for parts. They start small, a little funding here, a librarian there, one program cut, one school closed, one teacher driven out. And then they hand what remains to the highest bidder and calls that destruction innovation. We know better. Public education does not belong to politicians. It does not belong to testing companies, private school lobbyists, or billionaires shopping for their new tax shelter. It belongs to the people. And anything that belongs to the people is worth organizing to defend. That is why your union matters. Because love without power becomes sacrifice. And educators have already sacrificed enough. You have given your evenings, your weekends, your own money, time with your own children, your peace of mind, and pieces of your heart that still remember the student you could not save, the family you could not reach, the colleague that finally packed up their classroom and walked away. America does not need another pound of flesh from its teachers and educators. It needs to stand beside them. It needs to pay them. It needs to trust them. And it needs to give them the resources to do the job and then get the hell out of the way and let the professionals teach. I stand before you today as a senator from the great state of Texas. But I speak to you as a worker, as a union brother, and as that boy still staring at the page, the boy that did not know whether there was a place for him in this world. An educator answered that question. Yes. Yes, there is a place for you. That single answer can change the trajectory of a life. It changed mine. So when we fight for public education, we're not fighting to preserve the past. We're fighting for people we have not yet met. For the future teacher who's still learning to read, for the future union organizer that is still learning their voice has value, for the future poet, carpenter, engineer, caregiver, florist, or small business owner who is sitting at a desk right now waiting for someone to believe that difficulty is not destiny. Let that be our work. Let it be said that when public education was threatened, we did not shrink. We stood together and we organized. Thank you, AFT, and God bless every educator who pulled up a chair beside a struggling child. God bless the labor movement that stands beside those educators, and God bless the public schools that are teaching children every day that they belong in the story of America. Thank you.
Please welcome Pennsylvania General Assembly State Representative Jen Masako.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Jen Masako. I am the representative from the 42nd District, just south of the city of Pittsburgh. But up until, yes, Pittsburgh. But up until March of this year and for 15 years before that, I taught English at Alderdice High School in the Pittsburgh Public Schools. Yeah. And so I know that you're all excited today to hear me talk about my opinion about the new Odyssey movie. So I'm ready to talk about that for a lot. No, just kidding. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm really proud to be here. And it's funny because when I first became a teacher, I was not very political at all. And if you had told me 15 years ago that I'd be standing here today, I would have called you crazy. But it didn't take long for me to realize that if you are doing this job right, being apolitical is impossible. Thank you. Educators see the inequities in our society walk through our classroom doors every day. We teach students who come to school hungry. We teach students who struggle with mental health challenges without enough support, who watch their parents work multiple jobs to make ends meet, and who experience the heartbreak of losing loved ones to community violence. Educators are on the front lines. We spend our own money so that every student can have a backpack and make sure that we have snacks in our snack drawer in our desk. We use our lunch periods to translate materials for our English language learners or to finish writing our IEPs. We spend our prep time consoling students so that they can make it through the day. We stay after school because the buses are late again, and we know that our public education system is held together by people who would give almost anything to benefit their students. But we should not be expected to solve these problems alone. And that's why it's so important for educators and union members to use our voices in the political process by making phone calls, contacting legislators, knocking on doors, and sometimes running for office ourselves. Because you might be, I don't know if you're shocked to hear this, but not everyone in elected office is speaking up for what we know is good for students and working people. The reason I'm standing here today is the reason that I ran for office is because of this union. This union taught me that working people deserve a voice not only in the workplace, but also in choosing our elected officials and determining the direction of our country. It taught me that we cannot allow an election affecting our schools and our families and our communities to pass without making ourselves heard. And so I want to take a minute to recognize some of the leaders that brought me here. First of all, every member of the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers, Local 400, let's give it up. Every person in that union, every person on that executive board, every person on our PAC committee is standing up every day to fight for their students and to fight for working people. And I want to especially call out our current president of PFT 400, Billy Heilman, who, Billy. Billy is shrewd and relentless union leader, but at his heart, he is an activist. He has spent his entire life standing up for equality and inclusion and social justice, and he taught me that our fight is not enough unless it includes everyone. Yes, round of applause. I also want to recognize former PFT President Nina Esposito-Viscitis, AFT Pennsylvania President Wendy Coleman, and of course, our wonderful AFT President Randy Weingarten. These leaders showed me that women belong in every room where decisions are made, whether that is a union hall or the Capitol. And the thing that stands out the most too about those women is that they always lifted me up. They lifted up others. They didn't just lead for the sake of leading. They brought people behind them. And when I was ready to run for this office, they said, let's go. So after being radicalized by public education and lifted up by my union members who never backed down from a fight, stepping forward to run for this office became a really easy decision. I was elected in a special election in February of this year. It was freezing in Pennsylvania. It was there were some days where it was 10 degrees. It snowed a whole bunch. My race was the only one on the ballot in a district that reliably votes very blue. So everything about this suggested that it would be a low turnout, low enthusiasm election. But my team and I received 81% of the vote in a district that usually voted about 66, 67% Democrat. And it was on the night of the State of the Union address. So there's some really cool graphics of me next to Donald Trump, like, Democrat wins on night of State of the Union. It was pretty neat. But anyway, I think this result happened for two reasons. First of all, we knocked on thousands of doors. We showed up, we listened to people, and we talked with our neighbors about what was at stake for this election. And I think the turnout demonstrated the value of having real conversations with voters. So when you are feeling nervous about going out to knock doors on a weekend, or you're just too tired, or you've had a long week, remember that showing up to knock doors and talk to people works, and it helps, and it will turn people out. And second, the other thing that I learned from this election was that people are fed up. They are watching prices rise at the gas pump, the grocery store, for childcare, their utility bills. They are watching our leaders pour billions of dollars into ICE and endless wars, while they're claiming that there's not enough money for public schools or healthcare or to pay people a living wage. We are watching, they are watching billionaires become closer to being trillionaires, while working families are told to do more with less. My election and elections happening across the country show that our values are popular, and people want people like us making decisions about them. People believe that every child deserves a public education. They want schools that include everyone. They believe working people deserve a fair shake. They want leaders who are willing to fight for them. And we have enormous battles ahead. We have to figure out how to educate a generation of children that have ChatGPT at their fingertips. We have to stop book bans from erasing the truth, and anti-DEI initiatives from erasing our students' identities. Yes. We have to defend public education from privatization. And we must build a society that takes care of one another instead of serving only the rich and powerful. Our voices of teachers, educators, of union members are essential in that fight. So I'm asking you today to find a candidate where you live who believes in strong public schools and a better future for working people, and do whatever you can to help them win. And if you can't find that candidate yourself, then you need to run for that office. Step up yourself and run. Because if we do not fight for our students, our schools, and for working people, who will? The good news is that more and more AFT members are answering that question by putting their names on the ballot, and I really am excited to welcome two of my fellow union members who are doing exactly that. So first we have Jared from Illinois.
Thank you. My name is Jared Ploger. I am the Valley View Council President of 1,700 members strong, the Vice President of AFT Local 604, the 14th largest local, proud resident of Aurora, Illinois, proud son of a retired elementary teacher who now battles dementia and grief over the loss of my brothers. I see how far her pension goes and does not go. I am proud to carry on her legacy as a social justice and U.S. history teacher at Bolingbrook High School, located in what is considered the most diverse school district in the state of Illinois. Mi esposa es maestra de español, mi hijo menor hablando, escribiendo y leyendo en español y inglés. Mi español es malo, lo siento. I grew up in a small town in what I was told was a broken home. I now live in a multi-generational, multilingual, and multiracial home. I'm running for the dynamic Illinois Senate 42nd District seat located in the Aurora, Illinois area. Because in Illinois, we have an affordability problem also. The billionaires tell us to cut instead of build. We also have a tiered pension problem in Illinois. We have a funding problem in Illinois. We have a regressive taxing problem in Illinois. As said yesterday, multiple things can be true at the same time. So I plan to show up in Springfield and absorb and learn, but I also plan on showing up and getting shit done. Progressive revenues over regressive taxing. Fully funding all schools, not just our North Shore, Illinois. Fixing a tiered pension system and paying our paraprofessionals a livable wage. Paying all a livable wage. And finally, protecting all our students so they aren't stolen from their families and stolen from their communities. Our IFT president spoke yesterday about what we need. That's what we need to get shit done. But I want to clarify, I am not going there to get bullshit done.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Jared. And next we have Joy from Florida.
Good morning, AFT. Thank you, President Weingartner, for this opportunity. As I approached the mic, I started to say, let the church say amen. My name is Joy Little Jackson from Miami, Florida, and I am running for school board seat 1. The reason why I am running, I heard what you just said, if you can't find a candidate, then run yourself. I have become tired of being a day late and $1 short. So it is time that we begin to act now. You see, with charter schools and vouchers, my plan is to make sure accountability is for all. That these entities be mandated to be under the same criteria as traditional public schools. Our public schools are now in crisis and in trouble. Schools now have co-location, where charter schools and public schools are housed in the same building. Charter schools do not and have not been mandated to have certified teachers. Students are leaving the school system, going to other entities. It is time that we bring our students back. It is time that our teachers are respected. It is time that those that are working in public education know that we are valued, that we are respected, that we are the people that have led the way all of these centuries. I am a teacher. This is why we are building power. AFT, we are building power as educators, as leaders, as those that know what it takes to make it happen. Yes, we are the entity to go forward, to act now. We can't sit back a day longer. We must act now. Put our feet forward. This is our season. This is our time. We will be the leaders here, not just in our personal counties, but across this nation. We are the leaders, and we will make it happen. My name is Joy Little Jackson, and I am running for school board in Miami-Dade County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joy and Jared. First of all, we need to say running for school board is the hardest job. She deserves another round of applause for that. But this is what building power looks like. So it's not just speaking up, it's stepping up. And let's thank again these incredible AFT members for answering the call to lead. Thank you so much. Find your Joy and your Jared so that you can step up and help them win. Have a great day. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, you ready? Good morning. My name is Vicki Bird. I'm a registered nurse and the CEO of the Montana Nurses Association. I'm honored to serve as one of AFT's vice presidents. I come from Montana, a state many consider red, and I want to share something important. Our democracy is strongest when people participate. As nurses, educators, healthcare professionals, and public employees, we see every day what happens when people feel unheard. One of the most powerful ways we can strengthen our communities is by helping people engage in our democracy. I urge all of you to join AFT's political program, both Count Me In and Democracy Defenders, like those on stage with us. Even if you don't live in a battleground state, you can volunteer. You can reach out to family, friends, neighbors, and your community and help ensure people have the information they need to vote. Also, helping to protect every eligible voter's right to vote and ensuring elections are fair, safe, and accessible. This is important not just for Congress, but down ballot across the country, where state and local ballot initiatives that directly impact workers' rights and seek to weaken unions. That's why we need informed, engaged members who understand that this work is part of who we are as a union and are willing to volunteer. Our strength has always come from members talking to members. I think about my aunt back in rural Montana, back home. She's a retired public school teacher who serves as an election judge in a small town of fewer than 1,000 people. She does it because she believes every vote matters. That's public service. That's democracy in action. Our goal isn't to tell people who to vote for, it's to encourage every eligible voter to participate. This is what unions do. We empower people. We empower and build communities. M&A, Montana Nurses, will strive to commit 1.5% of our membership to this election program. For M&A, we have 3,000 members. This is only 45 people. No union is too small. We all have a part to play, and together we can help ensure every voice has the opportunity to be heard. And of those 45 people, I want to give a quick shout out to our democracy defenders, Robin, Emily, Gina, and Adrienne. All of my delegates and staff that attended this convention have already went through the training, so we've got democracy defenders. Thank you.
Good morning, AFT siblings. My name is Jeff Freitas, president of CFT, California Federation of Teachers. To fight back against this fascist regime, we need to be in the streets, wisely using our wallets, battling in the courts, and winning at the ballot box, the center of our democracy. I am proud the AFT's taking the lead on protecting the election. Democracy Defenders means organizing our members not to just vote, but to respond when voting rights, ballot counting, and public confidence are attacked. Your response has been so strong since Friday. Nearly 800 people took action, signing up as a Democracy Defender. attending orientations, checking their registration, and securing their own vote, as well as others. In California, we knew these attacks were coming before the primary, so we got poll watchers out just in time, and that was our practice run for the November election. That's why we're organizing to have, let's be clear, access to voting and counting every vote is not partisan. It is neutral. It is non-negotiable. Every American deserves their vote to be accurately counted. But the stakes are not neutral. The November results determine whether working families and unions and our communities have a standing between them and this administration. And California is a part of this fight. We're ground zero for the control of Congress. We have to win take out 5 Republican congresspeople in California alone. Let me be clear. The road to slow this authoritarian regime is to take the House away from Trump's control. That road runs through California. That road runs through every single one of your communities. At a minimum, we're asking the Congress just to protect the Constitution and perform the constitutional duties. At the best, we're trying to change this country for the better. With AFT's Democracy Defenders and Count Me In campaigns, CFT is committing to organize more than 2,000 members for voter mobilization and election protections this year. We have been building our organizing muscle through the No Kings protests, the May Day actions, alongside of our coalitions to mobilize, activate, and bring people together. And through that, 40,000 CFT members have already been in the streets to fight for this. Now we are dedicated to talking with our members, training the members, organizing CFT to take action for a fair election. Now we need to put those networks together to merge this shirt with this shirt. Democracy Defenders. We must do this together. We must stand strong. When we act together, we get it done. You know what I meant. So I have 3 questions for you. CFT members will work to protect our vote. Will you? CFT members are committed to protect our democracy. Are you? CFT members are organizing to take back this country. Will you? Be a democracy defender now. Thank you.
Okay. I am now going to go through sure that those are published out here, are published on the screen so everybody sees it. Yvette has them and I have them, but we want to make sure that they are there. And so I suspect after that happens, there will be a bunch of people who come to microphones to want to do points of information or want to say different things. And there will probably be somebody who comes to a microphone to say all the rest of the regular order they want to give to or move to. They want to close the business of the convention and move to and give those that rest of the regular order to the executive council. That is what I assume is going to happen in the next few minutes. There are also people at microphones. And I would just actually, right now, as a point of personal privilege, say this. I've been running these conventions for a long time. I've been a leader of a union for a long time, since 1998. Most people who come to these conventions come because they really want to be part of a union movement. No, please don't. Give me a minute. We don't always get things right. In fact, all of us are imperfect people.